The clink of her wineglass against the oak table sliced through the hum of our quiet dinner like a guillotine. "I want a prenup," Sarah said, her voice steady. Eyes locked on the crimson swirl in her glass. "We keep everything separate." My fork froze midair, a piece of roasted potato dangling, as her words landed like a fist in my chest. The kitchen, warm with the glow of pendant lights and the faint scent of garlic, suddenly felt like a stage, and I was an actor who'd forgotten his lines. I nodded, because what else could I do? My throat tightened, but I forced a smile, the kind you muster when you're trying not to choke on your own confusion. "Okay," I said, my voice a hollow echo. "If that's what you want." Her lips twitched, not quite a smile, and she sipped her wine, the silence between us swelling like a bruise. I stared at the plate, the food blurring into a smear of colors, and wondered when the woman I'd married had started building walls I couldn't see. The idea of a prenup wasn't new. We'd joked about it before our wedding 3 years ago, laughing over cheap beers in a dive bar, her hand warm in mine. "If we ever split, I'm keeping the dog," she'd teased, her hazel eyes glinting with mischief. I'd laughed, kissed her, and said, "Deal, but I get the record player." It was a game then, a playful nod to a future we didn't believe in. But now, her words carried a weight that made my skin prickle, like the air before a storm. That night, I lay in bed, her soft breathing beside me a cruel contrast to the chaos in my head. The bedroom was too still, the moonlight slicing through the blinds like accusations. Why now? We weren't rich. Our savings account was a patchwork of scraped-together paychecks. Was it about money? Or something else? I replayed her words, dissecting the tone, the way her fingers had tightened around the stem of her glass. My mind churned, conjuring excuses. Stress from her new job, maybe, or that fight last month about my late nights at the office. But deep down, a colder thought took root. Something was wrong, and I'd been too blind to see it. The next morning, Sarah was already gone when I woke, her side of the bed cold, the pillow untouched. A post-it note on the fridge read, "Early meeting, back late." No love. No heart doodle like she used to leave. I stood there, coffee mug burning my palm, staring at the note as if it held a cipher to her soul. The kitchen clock ticked, each second a hammer against my nerves. I tried to shake it off, to bury the unease in routine. Shower, dress, drive to work. But her words from last night clung to me like damp clothes. At the office, I couldn't focus. Spreadsheets blurred into nonsense, and my coworkers' chatter about weekend plans grated like static. I checked my phone obsessively, hoping for a text, an explanation, anything. Nothing came. By noon, I was scrolling through her social media, something I hadn't done in years. Her posts were sparse, professional, smiling at a conference, a group shot with colleagues. But one photo buried a few weeks back caught my eye. Her and a man I didn't recognize, their shoulders touching, her smile too wide. The caption read, "Teamwork makes the dream work." My stomach twisted, but I told myself it was nothing. Just work. Just a colleague. That evening, she came home late, her heels clicking sharply against the hardwood. I was on the couch, pretending to read, the book untouched for an hour. "Hey," I said, forcing casualness. "Long day." She shrugged, tossing her bag onto the counter. "Yeah, meetings ran over." Her voice was flat, her eyes avoiding mine as she poured a glass of water. The air felt thick, like we were both holding our breath, waiting for the other to crack. I wanted to ask about the prenup, about the man in the photo, about why she felt so far away. But the words stuck heavy and useless in my throat. Instead I said, "You okay? You seem off." She froze, her hand on the glass, then turned, her face a mask of calm. "I'm fine, Mark. Just tired." But her eyes, those eyes I'd once read like a book, were guarded, a locked door I didn't have the key to. She kissed my forehead, a perfunctory gesture, and headed upstairs. The scent of her perfume lingered, unfamiliar, sharp. Not hers. Or was it? Doubt gnawed at me, a slow, relentless bite. The next few days were a blur of small, jagged clues. Her phone buzzed constantly, but she'd silence it, tucking it away with a quick glance. She started locking her laptop, something she'd never done. Once, I caught her laughing softly at a text, her face glowing in a way I hadn't seen in months. When I asked who it was, she said, just a work friend. Too fast, too dismissive. Each moment piled onto the last. A house of cards teetering on the edge of collapse. I started checking things I wasn't proud of. Her email, left open on our shared tablet one night, had a thread with someone named Alex. Professional at first, project deadlines, meeting notes, but then a shift. Can't wait to see you again, with a winking emoji. My heart pounded, a drumbeat of dread. I told myself it was a misunderstanding, that I was paranoid. But the prenup demand loomed. A neon sign flashing betrayal. Friday night, I couldn't take it anymore. She was in the shower, her phone on the counter. My hands shook as I picked it up, her passcode, our anniversary still the same. The messages with Alex were a gut punch. Miss you already, he'd written. Last night was amazing. Her reply, same. Soon. My vision blurred, the words searing into my brain. I scrolled further, each text a knife. Late night meetups, vague excuses. A photo of them at a bar, her hand on his arm. When she emerged, wrapped in a towel, I was sitting at the kitchen table, her phone in my hand. She stopped, eyes widening, then narrowing. What are you doing? Her voice was sharp, defensive. Who's Alex? I asked, my voice low, trembling with rage and hurt. She didn't flinch. A friend from work. You're being ridiculous. Am I? I held up the phone, the screen glowing with their messages. This doesn't look like just friends, Sarah. Her face crumpled, but only for a moment before it hardened again. You shouldn't have gone through my phone, she said, stepping closer. That's not fair. Fair. I laughed, a bitter, broken sound. You're talking about prenups sneaking around, and I'm the one who's not fair? She sank into a chair, her hands twisting in her lap. It's not what you think, she said, but her voice wavered, betraying her. Alex, he's just someone who gets me right now. You've been so distant, Mark. Work, always work. I felt alone. Her words stung, but they didn't erase the betrayal. So you cheat? You plan to leave me, to protect your money? My voice cracked, tears burning my eyes. I loved you. I trusted you. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. I don't want to lose you, she whispered, tears spilling down her cheeks. I messed up. I'm sorry. I stood, the chair scraping against the floor. My heart was a battlefield, love, anger, grief, all at war. I wanted to scream, to forgive, to walk away and never look back. Instead, I said, I need time. I grabbed my keys and left, the door slamming behind me. Outside, the night was cold, the stars indifferent. I drove aimlessly, her words and mine replaying in my head. But one thought cut through the noise. The prenup wasn't about money. It was her escape plan. A way to sever us cleanly when she was ready to go. And yet her tears, her plea. I couldn't shake the love still tangled in my chest. I pulled over, my hands gripping the wheel. A text lit up my phone from Sarah. Please come home. We can fix this. I stared at it, torn between the life we'd built and the truth I couldn't unsee. Then another message from an unknown number. She's lying. Ask her about the hotel last weekend. My blood ran cold. The betrayal wasn't just Alex. It was deeper, darker, a web I hadn't even begun to unravel.